So welcome to the Center for Professional Learning, powered by DECA. Today is all about chapter communication strategies and helping your chapter promote itself through the use of social media. Our main objectives today are learning the 3 keys of consistent and successful social media presence, how to perform social media audits of all your platforms to see where your strengths and weaknesses lie, and to learn how to identify audiences and, of course, the best way to reach each of those. There are 3 basic keys to creating consistent and successful social media strategies, and they are creating content, sharing the content, and driving engagement. So one of the really cool things that DECA has that is unique and outstanding opportunity for its members is the DECA Direct Online Social Media Correspondent programs. The correspondents are tasked with 2 things. 1, they submit an article every month on any topic of their choice, school appropriate of course, and they actively share DECA news on their own social media pages. It's easy to get signed up at decadirect.org, or you can go to the page bit.ly/DECA-SMC. Sorry to get caught up here. So the question is, what do you write about? When thinking about what social media posts are and what the DECA correspondent articles could be, it's really kind of hard to decide what it is. And so this slide just kind of demonstrates how daunting it is to figure that out. However, there is a tip that DECA likes to share, and it is the content calendar. This can help funnel those ideas in a very logical order. So what is a content calendar? It's content or editorial calendar is used by publishers, businesses, and groups. It's used to control the publication content across different media, making sure consistent messages are sent out. For instance, the DECA Executive Officer team receives a content calendar for their DECA Direct online articles during their summer training this year. This is a great way to ensure that all the conference programs, deadlines, and more that happen this year are mentioned. This also ensures that we are not promoting something too close to the deadline or when the event has actually started. So this is a sample of what they're talking about with the content calendar. It's just a month, what's happening, who it's assigned to, and what those due dates are. So the benefits of creating a content calendar include having consistent content to share on your social media pages, having your officer team know what they need to write about each month ahead of time, giving all of your important chapter activities and accomplishment appropriate coverage, and of course, gaining publicity on DECA Inc. Sorry about that. So yay. So one of the really cool things that I personally love about DECA is their resources and how they're available to their advisors for free. So a sample content calendar is absolutely available at deca.org/about/communications. You can also find the great communication guide there, free, it's open source. And I strongly encourage you at the conclusion of this webinar or while I'm talking to go take a peek at some of the things that are on there. So if you're in the chapter, you're leading your officers through developing a communication strategy, first step is to grab your chapter calendar, compare it to the DECA calendar. And in the first activities, the first column where it's activities happening, just brainstorm all the activities that are happening in your chapter, in your school, in the community, and at National DECA. So this is a sample of after some brainstorming has been done month by month of what it might look like. Of course, every chapters would look a little bit different. And then this DECA Direct Online Articles column. So if you're encouraging your students to do the DECA Direct reporting, this would be a great way to actually identify and brainstorm article names for that. And here's some samples that has been done. So setting goals for 2016, 5 ways to prepare for CDC, 10 tips for advocacy month success, DECA ICDC 101. These are just some sample article names and who it has been assigned to, again, keeping it all very structured so everybody knows what is expected. And if you have a community service event, you could write an article that summarizes your success, or maybe write a best practice article that focuses on how you planned and executed an event. So, in the DECA guide, and again, it's free on the DECA website. It's in their upload sections. You can also access it from the About and then Communications area. This is their social media guide. And there are some really big tips here that are really cool when you think about engaging in the communication with your different audiences. One, being timely. You want to time those articles that they're hitting at the right time, making them relevant. You don't want to post something too early, and you definitely don't want to post something too late. Being brief, get to the point quickly. Think about short and to the point articles you like to read online and then mimic those. Being professional, proofread your articles before you submit them and make sure that they represent you, your chapter, and DECA well. Being prompt, don't submit your articles late. You may miss the boat on something important. Be visual. Include a photo whenever possible. Being organized. Make sure you're not writing about the same topic as another chapter officer. Remember, use your calendar to coordinate these ideas. Be catchy. Think of creative titles that will catch a reader's eye, and be listy. So whenever possible, make your articles into lists or bullet points that give readers a quick and easy topic to digest. And then be DECA. You know better than anyone else what ideas and resources DECA members and officers need. So we've kind of covered the creating the content. Now we're moving into sharing content. So this is pretty easy now that you have an idea of what a year's articles might look like to submit. And DECA will share all the DECA Direct online articles that are published on Twitter and Facebook, and will tag the author in their tweets so that they know when their article is up and how to see it, which also generates additional traffic when they retweet and share these posts. So the last, so your chapter should be posting and tweeting every DECA Direct article, and you tag correspondents with their Twitter handles to increase awareness. Driving engagement. This is the hardest step. However, there's some pretty creative kids out in the chapters who can certainly help with this. One of the best ways to drive engagement is to utilize current trends and topics that kids are already talking about and tweeting about, and find a creative way to tie it back to DECA. Some few examples from this past year that have worked pretty well. So as previously stated, this is a really hard aspect of social media, but it can be done. Finding trending topics that are already relevant and popular with students, and then tying them back to DECA is a great strategy. Using DECA hashtags, such as hashtag Summer of DECA with trending hashtags, is also a great way to maximize exposure. Lastly, GIFs are big things in social media posts, and Giphy, Giphy.com is a great database to use to find GIFs to share on Twitter and Instagram. So Twitter days by DECA are, so Monday is Motivational Monday, Tip Tuesday, Way to Go Wednesday, Throwback Thursday, and Friday Favorite. For instance, you can encourage all your members to share a Motivational Monday post, highlight a member on Way to Go Wednesday, and encourage your other members to retweet and share their special post about them. Be sure that you tag at DECA Inc. for that chance of a retweet, which gives you your personal profiles tons of exposures. The key to engagement is chapter buy-in. It takes the entire chapter working on the social media by tweeting, posting, and sharing to make your pages successful. So getting all the members involved is critical. So here are some strong examples from various chapters. Even if you only have a few retweets and likes, slowly you'll build up your engagement numbers. So on pages 15 and 16 in the guidebook, there's some great Facebook and Twitter tips for engagement. Some key practices include posting at the right times, using photos and links in your post, and tracking your clicks with bit.ly.com to see how successful your posts are. And again, this is a free resource found on the DECA website. Hashtag campaigns. Great way to drive engagement is using hashtags. Hashtags can seem like a confusing topic at times, but really they're just a great way to categorize your content online. Hashtags are searchable on whatever platform you post them on, and are also archived with specific tags so they can be found by others at a later date. For example, here are some hashtag Summer of DECA and hashtag BDECA Epic posts that were hashtagged from the Instagram account. So these are results that you might see if you did that search. Chapters from all over the world. This is a great way to find new people you want to come across in your everyday network, as well as allowing you to get a bigger picture of the DECA community. Creating an association chapter hashtag or chapter hashtag is a strong promotional practice. Your members are posting about your chapter or association activities anyhow, so this would be a great way to leverage their activity to help your profiles. When they use your hashtag, you can locate the best photo or tweet, reshare it on your pages, and give that person a shout out. This is a great way to highlight their membership and increase viewership when friends provide additional likes and shares. So to recap the 3 keys for consistent and successful social media presence, it's creating content and encouraging the DECA Direct Online Social Media Correspondent Program and the content calendar, sharing content and driving engagement with trending topics and hashtags. So the next part of the webinar moves into a social media audit, which is critical for strong social media presence and helps you to understand which platforms are working and which ones are not. So why perform an audit? See where you're falling short, how well your profile is performing, and how to really meet your social media goals. The first step is to create a social media audit spreadsheet. And again, is available in the guidebook or through the communications page or at this bit.ly DECA social media or social audit to download a PDF. So we're going to take a look on the next slide of what this actually looks like. So this is what the actual audit looks like in the PDF version. It's a little bit more colorful than the one in the guide. So the step is, for each of your social media profiles, use a 10-point scale to determine the strength of your profile. If you answer yes to the question, give yourself the appropriate number of points. If you answer no, don't add or deduct any points. So let's go back here to this page. So if you have a profile, 10 number of points. Do you have Facebook? Do you have Instagram? Do you have Twitter? For the branding, is your DECA logo as a profile picture? 10 points. Does the DECA website link on the profile? 10 points. The DECA branded profile or photos on profile? 10 points. Ownership. This is a big piece in important for any social media platform, is knowing the ownership. What is the username and password? Who is the creator? Often happens, students get really excited about creating an account on Instagram for their chapter or this, that, or the other, and then 4 years have passed and they're gone and you have no idea how to access the account. So making sure that a best practice is to make sure that the advisor is the owner and that the username and password is kept up to date. And if an advisor takes a different job, making sure that that information is kept in the classroom with the DECA file so that there can be a seamless processing from one advisor to the next and the chapter social media presence stays online. So does your social media profile name, school name, and include DECA? 1 point. Does your profile DECA logo? 1 point. Bio, who you are, where you're located? 1 point. Is there a link to your chapter's website or your DECA Association website? 1 point. Have you posted once this month? 1 point. Have you posted once this week? 2 points. Have you posted today? 3 points. So if you were going to do an audit in real life, and if we were in face-to-face at a conference, we would probably walk through this as an activity. But seeing just in general how you would score, you know, 1 to 3 points on that. Your social media profiles are pretty weak and actually need a little bit more work. 4 to 6, you're pretty strong, but have some areas where you can improve. And if you're 7 to 10, you're really a strong social media presence. Which brings us to step 3. Do your profiles contain the DECA brand? Branding your profile is important. And making sure that you have an official DECA chapter logo can be done by emailing communications@deca.org. So this is an example of a really well-branded Twitter page. You can see that they have their official chapter DECA logo right here. is their profile photo, a DECA-related header photo, and their bio clearly explains what DECA is, where they are located, and directs people to their chapter Facebook page. Cross-promoting your platforms can produce even more viewers. So again, on the audit worksheet, if you were going through this, giving yourself a point for each of these, if you're seeing no's in some of the answers or blanks there, those are places you would know that you have areas to work on. We've already talked a little bit about ownership, but this is a really strong piece. I really want to emphasize this, to making sure that old officers are removed if they had their unique accounts, the new officers are added, making sure that all passwords and usernames are at least able to be changed by the advisors, so that you don't have a great Twitter account that is locked or used maliciously by a student for nefarious reasons, but making sure that that control is kept with the advisor, shared with students. And again, there's a sample of what that would look like in the guide. Creating a streamlined posting process. So this is important. Once you've created your profile and you've been working on perfecting it, you don't want all that work to go to waste by not getting your messages shared with your followers in appropriate ways. So it's crucial that you determine which individuals are going to be responsible for what tasks on what sites. If you have one officer who is in charge of all of your channels, make sure they understand their responsibilities and how to share your messages on all your platforms. If certain officers are very passionate about certain sites, consider breaking up the responsibilities. It's also a really good idea to meet monthly and use that time to decide as a group what announcements can be scheduled ahead of time to alleviate stress with last-minute reminders of posts. And you might also consider using a service such as Hootsuite that combines all of your posts in one place, and you could actually upload via spreadsheet. So on the audit worksheet, you'll see a little chart to help you begin breaking down the posting process. Some ideas could be generating ideas as a group, then sharing them with the officers responsible. Maybe make one step getting posts approved by an advisor, and for the last step to be some sort of evaluation process, like checking the number of likes, retweets, or favorites to determine if that was actually a successful post. And last but not least, the final step in this part is to start posting, tweeting, and sharing. You should all feel more confident about your platforms, having gone through the strengths and weaknesses as found through the audit. Understanding your channels and how they're performing will allow you to set some clear goals for your social media activities for this year. This audit is a great activity to do with an incoming officer team to help them see what last year's team did a good job, or where their weaknesses were and where there are areas for improvement. The audit could also be used as a chapter or class project to audit their favorite company or brand. Having a strong chapter communication strategy really involves knowing your audience and understanding the correct ways to reach them. So there are a few possible audiences that you might be trying to reach. For many DECA associations, a huge audience is certainly the advisors. Then from most chapters, your main audience will be the members. And another group for both areas is parents and administrators. Now that you kind of have an idea of what the audiences might be, the next step is to really think about the best way to reach them. In today's technology-driven world, cell phones, emails, tweets, etc. are all driving communication strategy. But amongst all the ways to communicate online, there are definitely right and wrong avenues to reach each of the different groups. If you look at some of the best platforms to reach these groups, you'll see some clear distinctions. We're continuing to see that the adult demographic is still primarily using email as a main form of communication. Members or high school / college age students are really moving towards Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat as their main forms of communication. Parents also fall into the email category. They're also becoming the dominant users of Facebook. And lastly, we're seeing email as the best route to contact and share information with administrators. To dive deeper into each of these groups, advisors are the best to reach their email. For DECA Inc., we're still seeing that advisors read their DECA Direct weekly emails primarily on desktops, which is very interesting since everyone is pushing for mobile-friendly emails. While we're certainly are making, while DECA Inc. is making their emails mobile-friendly, they're not totally making them impossible to read on desktops either. Some great things to keep in mind when creating emails like this are to keep them short and brief with just the top news and information you want to share. It's also best to get your readers to go do something, whether it's to sign up for an activity, to go to a link to learn more, or to contact someone for additional resource. Something to take into consideration as well as a side note is that some schools have really strong filters, so keeping them short, simple, and text-driven, as cool as some of the graphics can be, sometimes they really get hung up and you'll miss that communication with a group of advisors. Some good tips for mobile email design to include consolidating your text into a single column, include buttons for links, keeping your text font simple and around 11 to 15 points, keeping plenty of white space and having no more than 25 lines of text and around 3 images. Here's an old DECA email, but it contains many of those points we just discussed. You can see it's single column, plenty of white space, the text is large, and there aren't too many lines. And looking at your member audience, it's really a very different arena. We see that at DECA Inc., they see that they get the most member engagement on Twitter. Instagram grows and is the fastest growing segment. Those two are the main areas that they try to push all their information that is targeted directly to members. Let's see if that picture, nope, that picture is not going to load there. So here are some Instagram posts and some Twitter posts. As mentioned earlier, the 35 to 54 age range is Facebook's fastest growing users group. And so it's really a great opportunity for chapters to leverage their Facebook pages to parents. Encourage parents to like your Facebook page while they're visiting for back to school night, or send home flyers promoting your pages for more chapter information. Another great group to reach on Facebook is alumni. Alumni are constantly posting to the DECA Inc. page about their experiences, and these individuals can make great judges, professional members, or classroom speakers. Finally, our administrators are a big group that you may need to reach in order to keep funding and appropriation to continue your chapter. DECA has so many awesome opportunities for administrators and provides a great deal of information that highlights the importance of DECA in the classroom and what it does for student members. So be sure you check out decadirect.org to find some of these informative and educational articles and posts. And they're a great way to give administrators a better idea of DECA's importance. So recapping it all, it's important to know your audience, reach your audience where they already are, and start small and be consistent. Because when it comes to the audiences, knowing who you want to reach, finding the best ways to actually reach them, and then starting small, being consistent, and being persistent will pay off. So at this point, I am going to stop